Hi, I'm Jack Ricciuto, and I'm here to talk today about facilitation and explore questions about facilitation, especially as I can draw from my work working with educators in the U.S. and around the world.
Okay. I'm wondering that when we're talking about thinking, we're talking about change in the mind.
hmm So the question is, what are the changes that happen at different levels when we introduce entrepreneurship education? The levels of student, the level of teacher, the level of institution and system, and also the larger community. There's several changes that occur. And I think one of the most fundamental or profound changes is the fact that we create a space where students can discover. Okay? So the whole idea of how we educate really changes. And we create a space where students can discover their passion for making a difference in their world, which is a huge shift from I'm here to get my grades for my career and overcome my fears so I can achieve my goals. Notice how much emphasis there is just on my survival to a larger perspective of what's the difference I can make in my world. How can I make a positive difference? How can I contribute value, engage my strengths, engage my passions to create a world different from the past? And so it's a change in how the student views herself and himself from a consumer to creator, where I'm just here, and that's the shift of citizen as consumer of what can I get, what else can I get, how can the world serve me, in that self-serving attitude to the core of entrepreneurship, which is really empathy, and how can I help and how can I make a difference. And there's so much research, including all the research I did in the past couple of years on one of my latest books, which is on happiness, which is that happiness, when people focus on their gifts and sharing their gifts with their community and making a difference in their community, their happiness level, and this is worldwide, the research is very global, not just here in Columbia, but it's worldwide, that when we become creators, not consumers, and we make a difference in our world, our happiness level goes up at least 2 to 3 times than otherwise.
What's the difference between being a facilitator and an instructor, and why is it important to
hmm
know?
Okay, yeah. So what's the difference between facilitator and instructor, and why is the difference important? Well, first of all, entrepreneurship is really the engagement of three skills that everyone on the planet already has, and they're the skills of empathy, of creativity, and inquiry, right? Of asking questions and being question driven, question based, and learning. And so when we teach entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship mentality, mindset, attitude, what we're really doing is facilitating the learner's discovery of those parts of themselves and facilitating the engagement of those parts of themselves into new opportunities that they create and discover, just in their own life, in their community, in their family, in their school, in their village, using what they have using what they have to help move and realize in small ways the dream they have of how they want their world to become possible. And so the teaching of dreaming, of inquiry, the teaching of empathy, the teaching of creativity is all facilitated. It's not pushing instruction, because that learning doesn't happen. It can only happen experientially. And so we have to prepare teachers different. We have to design the curriculum differently. We have to set up the metrics for education different. And we have to create policy that, um, that on every level supports those efforts.
Can you talk us a bit more about that curriculum change that could happen?
Well, I think two things have to happen. What has to happen with curriculum change is, number one, we have to start designing explicitly curriculum for teaching entrepreneurial mindset. But the other part of that is that we need to build that curriculum, much of it, into everyday natural ways of doing the curriculum. So it's designing 5 and 10 minutes, 20 minutes and 30 minutes pieces that teachers could insert organically into the way they do business today. So we're not asking teachers to really change what they're teaching. We're giving them a new way to think about how they teach it. We're not asking them to do any more work at all. It's not more work, it's different work. And it actually becomes easier. Facilitated teaching on the teacher's part, I will speak because I've been doing this using question-based learning and facilitated learning since I learned how to teach, and this is 35 years ago. It's much easier than the older traditional instructional approach. So
Do you think that by giving a chance to the agents of change?
we're giving both the teachers and the students agents of change. The teachers are connecting students more to the community, which gives them a greater possibility space, an opportunity space for seeing how to make small changes. And this is, and you know, one of the most interesting things as we think about entrepreneurship here in Colombia is talking about entrepreneurship as really creating small changes. So it's millions of small changes. If you look at any part of Colombia that has gone through transformation in the past 5 or 10 years, you know, where the quality of life and well-being has become slightly higher or greater in any way, the reason for that is because people have made changes in small ways. In the areas that have been stuck, declining, and still struggling with whatever their reason, whatever their narrative is of why they are still stuck and not thriving, is because they're not yet, but they will start making lots and lots of small changes. So it's never one big change, and this has a lot of policy implications as well, I think.
I just have one last question. It has to do with what the teachers have in mindset.
Yes, and the reason is because the basic building blocks of empathy and curiosity and inquiry, students already have. Okay, so we don't have to teach those things. We have to teach how to engage those. The other important thing that we also took away from today at the conference is that the people took away was the idea that the question that I thought was interesting is the question of, do teachers have to be entrepreneurs to teach entrepreneurial education? Absolutely not. They just have to learn how to adapt to facilitation to make everything easier for themselves. And that's the word facilitation comes from the Latin, which means to make easy. That's all it means. There's nothing really tricky about it. So we're here to make it easier for people to discover the part of their heart that wants to see change and the part of their hands and their mind and their connections that can make those possible. Gracias.